Plastid is one of the important cell organelle which is present in the plant and the photosynthetic protista, where their performance is basically based on the type of the pigment which is present inside the plastid. So we'll discuss these plastid and the various form of it and what are the functions of these plastid. So plastid are basically a double membranous bound semi-autonomous cell organelle which is basically present in all the photosynthetic protistic protist or in the plant. Okay. So basically they are present in the photosynthetic protist and all plant. Basically they contain the double stranded DNA as their genetic material, and also they are available in the multiple copies. That is why it is known as the semi-autonomous, means it can divide on its own. It also contains the 70 ribosome in its structure, which is responsible for the synthesis of the protein. While plastids are responsible for the variety of the metabolism which is taking place in the cell of the plant, it could be either photosynthesis or the interconversion or the storage of the pigment. So, variety of the cellular metabolism which are basically taking in the plant cell are controlled by the plastid also. Basically, the plastids are evolved or they are formed from the precursor cell which is known as the proplastid. So, precursor cell is known as the proplastid, and as the immature cell differentiated into, and these proplastid basically converted to the another form of the structure where their requirement in the particular cell is required. For example, it could either form the chloroplast, it could form the chromoplast, or the leucoplast. So the proplastid basically are the precursor cell of the plastid, and plastic we can say is a common name which could suggest, or it could be a common name or the common term for the proplastid, and which differentiated into the different form of organelle such as the chloroplast, chromoplast, and the leucoplast based upon the cell on which this or based upon the cell on which this particular plastid is present. Basically, there are the three different type of the plastid. The first one is the chloroplast, the second one is the chromoplast, and the third one is the leucoplast. The chloroplast, as we have already discussed this in the separate lecture. So chloroplast basically it consists of the pigment which is known as the chlorophyll, that is the green pigment. And this type of the chloroplast or the chlorophyll pigment, it is present in all the photosynthetic protista or in the plant. Basically, they are the common form of the plastid. Okay, and what are its function? Its function is in the photosynthesis as the conversion of the carbon dioxide to the glucose in the presence of the light. That is why it is known as the photosynthesis. So these are the general features and the function of the chloroplast. The second one is the chromoplast. It consists of the pigment which is known as the carotenoid, and basically it composed of the YOR, means the yellow, orange, and red color pigment. And basically they are responsible for giving these color to the different fruits or flower. So chromoplast basically responsible for the storage and synthesis of these pigment. Okay. The third one is the leucoplast. Leucoplast basically are the non-pigmented, means it does not contain any pigment. That is why it is colorless. And its main function is basically in the storage of substances, particular substances in it. And based on the storing substances, it could be the lyoplast, which store the lipid. It could be the amyloplast. Amyloplast means it consists of the starch, or it could be the it could be we can say the proteinoplast, because it consists of the protein, or it store the protein, we can say. So these are the different type of the plastid and the different form of the plastid. Based on the composition of their pigment, they are differentiated into these three categories of this plastid. Out of these, the chloroplast is most common and the uh, common form of the plastid, while the chromoplast and the leucoplast are the other form of the plastid. In the dark grown plant, basically what happened, the etioplast proplastid is formed. And what happened in the etioplast? Etioplast basically it composed of the precursor of chlorophyll, and it contained the yellow pigment in it. So the precursor of the chlorophyll is the protochlorophyll. Protochlorophyll. And what happened in the dark grown plant? Okay, dark grown plant, the etioplast is present. And when they are exposed to the light, they are interconverted to the chloroplast, in which the yellow pigment is then converted into the green pigment, and the protochlorophyll is converted into the chlorophyll. That is why they are giving the green pigment, or they are giving now in the green color. The one of the most important feature, or we can say the function of the plastid, is the interconversion of the plastid based upon the environment situation, or the requirement of the cell. They are interconverted to the one another. Like in this diagram, we can see that proplastid, which is the precursor of all the plastid, they are converted, or forming the etioplast, that is the dark grown plant. The etioplast will be there, which consists of the protochlorophyll, okay. And these proplastid also converted into the amyloplast, as it contains the starch. They are converted to the chloroplast because it consists of the chlorophyll pigment, and it helps in the photosynthesis process. These chloroplast can be interconverted to the chromoplast, or the amyloplast can form the carotenoid cell. The elioplast can be formed, which consists of the lipid. So these are the interconversion of the plastids are possible as per the availability of the cell's function and the environment stresses. They interconverted to each other, and the pigment also gets converted to the another form of the pigment. Basically, the